Hi, my name is Peter Simon. This video is a bit of a response to Steven Hann. That is Steven Hann with Archery Supplies in Australia. I recently posted a reel of myself shooting my bow at 100 yards, 6 arrows. I'll insert it here for reference. Steve took issue with the video that I posted. In an archery group on Facebook, he said, "First off, if you could shoot like that, you're world champion. World champions are not shooting hunting setups. People see videos like this and think it's real. So to put your video in context, that is a score of 354. The highest ever score shot in Australia is 347. Good video, but people just don't shoot that well." I responded probably too quick because it was an emotional response. I should have said thank you for the compliment. As if he thinks what I'm doing is impossible, that is a compliment. So I replied, "Steven, that was one end. If that was how I shot every end at 100 yards, yes, I would be a world champion, but I'm not. Also, yes, that is a hunting bow. I also have a competition rig. If you think pros don't compete with hunting bows, you obviously don't pay much attention to the US 3D scene. Now, I don't have a lot of experience in archery. I've only been doing this for 4 years, but I've worked pretty hard at it. I have a couple of scores online in official competitions like Reading and a few state events. Granted, not many because I haven't been doing this very long. If you want to question my credibility, please go look up my scores and compare them to yours. I've seen your content. I understand why you think it's fake. If you still think I'm phony, let's shoot an indoor or outdoor round, your choice, live on YouTube or Instagram. You can even choose whether or not I compete with my hunting rig or my competition rig." Now, he never responded to that comment, but I did actually see today that 3 days ago he made about a 29 minute video on YouTube where he addressed my video. And I guess people like me, in his words. He even posted photos of me on his channel. Now, generally, if you put something online, I think you should probably expect trolls because you open yourself up to the world and there's a lot of douchebags in the world. But his comment really rubbed me wrong, partly because I knew who he was. When I started archery, I started 4 years ago. I was 35 when I bought my first bow, and it was shortly before my second daughter was born in 2020, just before the world shut down. I bought my bow, world shut down. I was at home being dad and shooting a lot of arrows in my backyard. My first bow was a weight hunting bow. Shot that thing a lot. And I started learning by watching a lot of stuff online. Now, one of the people love to hate on online is John Dudley. I don't quite get it. If you don't like the guy, YouTube is big. There's a lot of content. Just don't watch his. You're not forced to consume anything. But anyway, I started with Dudley School of Knock. It's a series of 12 videos that kind of takes you through the basics to a little bit more advanced things in archery. And the more advanced you get in archery, you realize it is all about the basics. So it is a very, very good video series, very solid foundation. And I started watching other online content, everything I could find, Crispy, whatever. If there was something out there, I watched it. Even though I don't particularly like the guy, I've learned a lot by watching ranch fairy videos. So there is a lot of resources out there. Steven's channels were one of the channels that I followed early on in my archery career. Some of his product reviews, when there was a product that I was interested in, if he did a review on it, I'll watch it. For about a solid year, I think I pretty religiously watched every video that he would launch. Not so much anymore, because I felt like he, maybe 2 years ago, started switching to just kind of bad-mouthing a lot of people in the industry. And cool, whatever, it's free speech. He can do with his channel whatever he wants to. It's just not what I want to consume. I want to learn about archery. I want to grow as an archer. I want to get better. But long story short, that's why his comment really rubbed me wrong. On YouTube, he's got 34,000 subscribers. I think I have 16. So online, I'm a nobody. But he took time out of his day to respond to my crap. Up to now, he's kind of, it bugged me so much that he kind of lived rent-free in my head enough that I'm going to do a video to respond to it. But I guess he did a video to respond to my YouTube short, so maybe I took up some real estate in his head too. I don't think it's healthy. I think if you have an issue with someone, or if you have questioned the authenticity of something, reach out and ask. It's Facebook. You can message people. It's not hard. This is the path that he chose, and I guess now I'm going down it too, which is my own fault. In his YouTube video, he made a few statements. First off, he kind of oddly, I'll link to the video, but he starts weirdly with almost a rant about how you shouldn't compete to win at smaller competitions. And I don't know, if you don't compete to win, why are you competing? And I guess winning for everyone can look different. If you can define winning by getting a medal, you can define winning by shooting the best you possibly can. And if shooting the best you possibly can earns you a medal, great. I strive very hard to get everything out of my setup that I possibly can. I spend a lot of time with my arrow builds. I spine align everything, I spine test everything. I've got every gadget on the market to build the arrow as accurately as I possibly can. I've done a video on some of the testing that I do to decide which vein setup I'm shooting and why I end up there. I really do put a lot of effort into what I do. So then to be called fake or a liar or whatever, I guess that's what makes it sting so hard, is because I know the amount of effort that I've put in the last 4 years of shooting. And one of the things he also said in his video is, if you shoot like that at 100 yards, you'll win Vegas. That is just absolutely nonsensical. That's like saying if you win a marathon, you should be able to win a 100-meter sprint. It might be the same kind of sport, discipline, whatever, but it is not the same game by any stretch of the imagination. And if he has 40 years of shooting experience like he claims, he should know that. A couple of things that he said as well. If you shoot as good as you do, you'll compete for money and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the price pots in Australia is, but for me to go and compete at state level and expect to win any money, I don't really know of any state competitions that has much money, unless there's kind of a side pot, a side bet going. Those do happen, and I do sometimes compete in those, and I do win money in those, but it's maybe enough to cover my entry fees and gas. It's not enough to live off of. And in the US, for target archery, if you want to compete at a national level, that means you're shooting the USAT events. There's 4 of them. I think you have to shoot 3 to be considered to get onto the US team. I don't have the finances, and I don't have, or I guess we all have the time. I don't make the time. I've got 3 kids and a wife. My priorities are different. That said, I don't know that I shoot good enough to be competitive at those events. The competition in the US is next level. Even in California, I mean, I think of myself as an above average archer, but maybe in California on a good day I'm in the top maybe 20, maybe, and that's pushing it. There's some really good archers in the state. And shooting long distance with a hunting bow, If you hunt out west in the US, you practice long distance because you're probably going to be shooting at 70 yards or whatever. Some people say anything past 40 yards is unethical. If you can't hit a paper plate at that distance, then yeah, it would be unethical. But there are absolute killers out there like Levi Morgan, who takes shots past 100 yards and he puts them in the animal's heart. So it's only unethical if you can't do it. So to get back to Steve's comment about this being fake, the fact that you cannot do something doesn't mean it cannot be done. It doesn't mean that the fact that I had one good end doesn't mean that that is how I shoot all the time. If that is how I shot all the time, yeah, I would be freaking awesome. That is really, really good shooting if I could do that every single time, but I can't. That was just the round that I posted happened to be the best end that I shot and had on camera. So that's what I post. Well, if I was going to fake it, why would I fake a 9? They would all be in the 10. So then to extrapolate his score, saying, well, the best ever shot in Australia is 347. If you shoot like that, that is a 354. That is like saying if you have one Vegas round, one Vegas end where you shoot 3x's, you're a 30x archer. It's just not true. It is so nonsensical and dumb. I feel dumber for even having read that statement. So again, for somebody of his stature, of his experience, to make these comments, either he's just, I don't know, hating on somebody that's a nobody, that I don't know where in his tiny little mind he feels that that's worth his time, or is ignorant. And at this point, if you've got 40 years of experience in archery and in shooting and in the industry, and you're that ignorant, that's willful ignorance, and that's the worst kind. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself while I shoot a few arrows, just as an introduction to who I am. And maybe the round goes well, maybe it doesn't. I mean, some days I shoot good, some days I don't. Right now it is pretty windy. How I shoot now is how I shoot in the wind. And this might be a good end, it might be a bad one, who knows, we'll see. Okay, we're recording, the drone is up. So typically when I'm shooting like this in the wind, sometimes I'll take out my thumb button and just punch it. Most of the time I'm shooting my hinge release. So I'm gonna punch one with the thumb button to see where it ends up. And then there the wind's coming up again. Let's hope the drone stays alive. I'm gonna punch a few to see where it ends up. If I need to make a sight adjustment, I will. But I'll adjust for elevation. When I'm shooting in the wind, I never adjust for windage because you just end up chasing your tail. I'd rather just hold over left or right and see how that goes. So that was left. It definitely broke left. Well, let's see. Yeah, that's way left. The height seems good, but I definitely broke way left. That broke center. Let's see where the wind pushed it, if anywhere. That seems to hit middle, so I'll continue punching it. Now, if you hear me clearing my throat a lot or sniffing or whatever, it is because I recently went through an allergy test. It turns out I'm pretty much allergic to everything in California. So with it being dusty and kind of spring and windy and all of that good stuff, my allergies are definitely acting up. Whew, that is windy. I can't really see where that impacted, so I'll have to watch the video later. So I'm holding left maybe like in the middle of the 9 to the left. I found that my hunting arrows actually do not drift that much in the wind. One is they go fast. It's about 180 grain-ish arrow, and it is going 291 feet a second. Excuse me. And it between being heavy and being fast, it tends to buck the wind pretty decently. I could feel my finger. This is one of my form flaws. My finger tends to slide over the shelf, and then I get a little bit of vein contact with my finger. Huh. So again, this is not, if it wasn't windy, I'd be shooting the hinge. I feel a lot more confident with the thumb button. I'm not shooting it with back tension. I am punching it. Because I typically take it out only when it's windy. If I was shooting this all the time, if it's not windy, I would execute it with back tension the same way I do my hinge. But yeah, I'm punching it like Ike right now. Ooh, maybe a little left on that one. Yep. Now, just to give you an indication of how it's the wind is affecting me, that shot broke on the 7/8 liner, and it hit the I think from here it looks like the 9/8 liner. So it's pushing it over about one line. So if the shot breaks in the middle to the left of the 9, it tends to hit the 10 in this wind. No, I can't see. That's maybe a little low, I'm not sure. So I'm shooting, my thumb button is a true ball blade, and then my hinge release is a HBC Flex, also true ball. And it took these two, I'm able to set up to where the point of impact going between the two is more or less the same. Now I've practiced punching indoors at 20 yards as well, and I'll shoot 300s punching, but my X count is substantially lower. It's like mid to high teens, where on the hinge, when I execute that well indoors, I'm also shooting 300s, but that's mid to high 20x count. I've never shot a 30x. The best round I've shot so far is a 328x. That was in competition, but that is the best round I've ever shot on a Vegas round. I did compete in the state indoor. I usually do that because it's shot in various locations, so I don't have to go far from the house to shoot that one. Last year in 2022 I won it, and that was with a hunting bow, but with a bunch of target crab bolted to it. That was the Matthews V3X, which at the time was the best bow I've ever shot. It really is a remarkable bow. I shot 450 out of 450. It's a 450 Vegas round. I don't remember what my X count is. I'll annotate it on the screen. Ooh, that was a rough shot. Halfway through that shot I realized I'm shooting my hinge and not my thumb button. That's because I'm focusing on talking and not on shooting. But yeah, I'm gonna shoot the hinge in the wind and let's see how it goes. Well, I'm doing it, I might as well continue doing it. Ooh, that felt way right. And I could see the arrow kind of fishtailing in the air on the way to the target. So I torqued the crap out of that shot. Trying to fight the wind. And my form falling apart. So one of the things that my natural inclination is to want to straighten out my arm. When I have just a slight bend to it, I feel like I'm a lot more consistent when the shot gets tough. But I have to consciously think about it because my muscle memory, the way that I've shot for many years, is just to kind of lock out my arm. That felt a little better. I do not know where that arrow went. There's a kind of a clump of them in the middle. And it's getting hard to distinguish which is which. After this, I'll shoot that's a 122 centimeter face I'm shooting right now at 100 yards, 91.4 meters, not 90. Thank you, Steven. Then after this, I'll shoot at 60 yards, which is like 50 some meters at a 80 centimeter target. Just to kind of illustrate the reason why I like shooting at long distance is it makes shooting shorter distances way easier. And if you can figure out your form at 100 yards when you're shooting 50 meters, it's just a lot easier. But that said, this bow would not be legal in any World Archery or US Archery tournament because there you're limited to 60 pounds. This is 82 pounds. I could see that arrow fishtail a little bit too. Downrange, just as I shot, I could see a little bit of a dust devil or a whirlwind going. I think that one impacted to the right, although I'm not sure which arrow is which anymore. That arrow impacted my finger. The veins impacted my finger a little bit when it left, but it broke good, but then it impacted my finger pretty hard. That is my form flaw I need to work on. So my guess is that was one of the arrows that hit low. Really, when you're practicing by yourself or anywhere, one of the things you really need to be not just fling arrows, but think about what you're doing. So when you screw up, you can fix it. That felt a little bit to the right, but felt decent. Anywho, I think I'm done with this end because right now I don't really know where the arrows are impacting anymore, but I'm gonna go pull and then I'll cut the video and then I'll shoot around at a shorter distance on an 80 centimeter face. So we see how these translate to actual competition now. This is a little bit more indicative of my average shooting. There were definitely some oopsies in here and I could not see where I was shooting anymore. The wind is probably somewhere between 8 and 12 miles an hour. I'll look it up on the weather channel later and kind of see. I'll make a note of that on screen. But yeah, this is not my best shooting ever, and when I edit the video together we can see what arrow hit where with which release. But this is a pretty normal day for me. So I'm at 55 yards right now, which should be close to 50 meters. I'm going to shoot at the 80 centimeter target. It's pretty windy, but I'm going to stick to shooting my hinge. I'm just going to fling arrows. I'm not really set on a specific amount, but this is going to be my last end of the day, being pretty fatigued and whatnot, and we'll see how it goes. Just going to fling arrows and see what happens. Woo! Was a rough one. Either just out of the 10 or just caught it. From this angle at least it looks close. Maybe to the right. Nope, caught it. Guess this is the test when you're really tired. How does it go? No, it's almost 3 o'clock, so I need to go be a productive member of society again. Okay, I'm being blown way off target right now. It's probably low. Looks low to me. Well, it's very meditative. Shooting is a good way for me to clear my head. The day goes better when I shoot well. Today is kind of average to below average for me, but it's still good to be out here flinging arrows. Maybe a little low, not sure. It's hanging in the bottom of the 10. I think I caught it on the left hand side. See how many arrows are those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Screw it, let's call that a day. That's 6 arrows. Let's go see how that went. So definitely not my best work, certainly not my worst. I think this one caught, this one caught, this one caught. This one may have caught if the line wasn't not obscured, what's the right word? Distorted. This one is probably out, this one's probably out. So that's either, what's that, either 56 or 57 depending on, no, that's either 57 or 58, depending on how you score this arrow right there. Which, not my best, again, not my worst with a hunting arrow, or I mean with a hunting bow, hunting setup. I'll take that. In the wind, I feel like that's decent. Thank you, Steve Hann of Archery Supplies Australia. I'm really good at procrastinating, and I keep wanting to make videos, and I procrastinate. So this past weekend and this past few days, I've kind of been fueled by rage and caffeine, and it motivated me to do something, get off the couch, make a video. So for that, thank you. For the compliment of me shooting so good that you cannot believe that it's real, thank you. All the best to you, and I hope you do well.